Good morning, good morning, good morning, Kansas City and surrounding areas. I am Katina Taylor, the founder and executive director of Dreams KC. I am so excited to have been celebrating with you all and continuing the celebration of Black Children's Book Week. See, I still have my shirt on. I feel like I've had it on every day this week, and that's okay. But I probably should have bought more than one. We'll fix that. In any case, if you don't know, now you will know that I have been spotlighting, highlighting, introducing to some, reintroducing to others, some amazing Kansas City authors. And the streak continues today. And I want you to make sure you join me tomorrow because we'll have two more on the last day of February, or today's the last day of February, the last day of Black Children's Book Week. And so I want you to tune in. Remember, these live video, these recordings, these spotlights, they go randomly. They are not scheduled. We work around the author's schedule, my schedule. So you'll just have to tune in. So be watchful, look for me. But with that being said, you don't need to hear from me. You want to meet the author, the lady of the hour. So let me bring her on screen. All right, there she is. And let me see. I want to still have that up there too. All right, but I'm going to spotlight you for a quick second because I want you to introduce yourself to folks. Tell them who you are and why should we be spotlighting you, highlighting you at Black Children's Book Week. Okay, so let me see. I want to make sure I got you up there. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, go for it. Go for it. Yes.
Hi, I am Cynthia L. Fales, also known as CL Fales when I am writing. I am an author. I am also the founder of Launch Crate Publishing. I got my start writing children's books. I think I have 8 that I have written. I have also illustrated a handful as well. Last year started the Legacy Lit Fest, which we hope to continue for Black Children's Book Week in 2026. But yeah, I do all things creative and love supporting the work of Black authors and books that highlight and celebrate Black children.
I love it. Well, welcome. Thank you for doing me the favor. Thank you for saying yes on the eve of the eve, right?
Yeah.
You are going to be running your first full marathon.
Yes.
I am so excited that you said yes and you hopped on with me before you head out of Kansas City on to Arkansas to run this amazing marathon. So I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with me. So let's hop into it. I have some questions. I tell you, these are going to be painless. I promise. I know you've probably been asked these questions a million times before. I also have in the chat a link to your website. So if folks are interested in purchasing your books, learning more about you, supporting your work, or working with you as a publisher, because the one thing that I love about you is that you feed into other authors, indie authors. And I think I need to work with you too. The last time I saw you do that big haul with one of your clients, I was like, I need to know how to do that. How do we sell in bulk? So yes, I'm excited to learn more about that. But let's dive in. Awesome. So you've already shared a little bit about yourself, but the end part of this question I think is really important. What inspired you to write children's books? Even though I know you do some adult writing as well, but what specifically inspired you to write children's books?
The initial thing that inspired me, the first book that I wrote was called The Christmas Cookie, and that book at the surface level is about a Christmas cookie that wakes up on a plate meant for Santa on Christmas Eve, and he has to decide whether or not he wants to sacrifice himself, right? So on the surface level, that's what it's about. But when you dig a little bit deeper, it's about having faith. And I wrote that book at a time when I needed it myself. And that's what kind of spurred my writing and publishing journey. And then all of the books that I've written after that have all been along the same vein of sharing stories and sharing messages that will hopefully create a spark within somebody and ignite something that was lying dormant, that will help them to get to see themselves in a little bit different light, or to see the world in a different light. So
Yeah.
that's the inspiration for my children's
That's
books.
that's amazing. I think we often find ourselves in places of growth or need,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
or quiet, and something speaks to us, and from there it can light a spark. So I love that first part was really about faith, and I tell you that resonates with me so much because the end part of 2024 into 2025, I realized that no one had ever talked to me truly about how to grow your faith.
Mm,
And we're told we should have faith. But what I have learned is that it's a muscle.
mhm.
Um, and sometimes, depending on who the individual is, they'll need teaching around how to develop it, how to walk in it, how to hold on to it. So I love that you address it from a child's perspective.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
just like the running journey, right? They're kind of parallel.
Hmm.
Um, I Had I not been running this entire time, there's no way that I would get out there and survive running a marathon,
Right.
at least in the cutoff time, right?
Yes.
Little by little, I'm strengthening not just my physical muscles, but I'm strengthening my lungs. I'm building capacity within myself so that I can get out there and feel confident enough mentally that I can handle whatever's going to come at me in those 26.2 miles. And the
I
same
love it.
way is true with our faith journey as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love that you made that more relatable and
Mhm.
applicable, tangible, so to speak. I
Yeah.
love practical application of things because sometimes it's so high level and people don't get it. But if you just shrink it on down, make it
Mhm.
relatable, people understand. Well, let's keep going. So, oh, you know what? Don't tell me I didn't know I did. I didn't change this one. I'm so sorry.
That's
So,
okay.
but that's okay. So you have is it Ella's
It's
or
Ella, uh-huh,
and Rain.
and Rain the Brain,
So
yes.
tell me where those were birthed from.
So the Ella book series, were a love letter to my mom, and they all have some sort of thing that I've watched, my mom either exhibit or build as she navigates through the world as a Black woman, right?
Oh wow.
Especially doing so in the 80s and the 90s. And it was those things. I took 10 out. Four of the books are written now, but for each of the 10 things that I pulled out that I saw in my mom, um, each of them will have their own story. So the first one is about the power of one and how one person can have a ripple effect on the world. The second one is about the power of yet, that's Ella in One Rough Day, and how adding this one tiny little three-letter word to the end of a sentence makes something possible when it wasn't before.
Yes.
We also talk about the power of grit, and we also talk about the power of sight. So being able to dig deep. Actually, Ella in One Great Race is about Ella going through her own 5K journey and how she has to encourage herself. So um, that
I
was,
don't know that I have all of I know I have quite a few on my bookshelf, but I better go down the list and make sure I have them all. They sound amazing. And
yeah.
the fact that I'm a woman, but I also have two granddaughters now. I have a
Mhm.
new granddaughter. She's 4 months old. Um,
Ah,
we often don't have stories to push us in that way, or that we
yeah.
can learn from people that were in our lives or what have you, or that we can connect to, right?
Hmm.
So I love the story about her not having a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I usually will include that in my bag of books that I take to schools.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I give them choices as like, which books do we want to read? And more often than not, they will choose that particular book. And I love that book because it really just kind of guides you in terms of like, hey, your day can start one way, but that doesn't mean it has to dictate the rest of your day, right?
Absolutely.
It's really your
Absolutely.
mindset. And so talking to those little bitty kiddos about you can choose to have a rough day the whole day, or you can choose not to. Just,
Yeah.
up to you for sure. I love that. You said a love letter to your mother.
Mhm.
might. Is your mom still with us?
She is, yeah.
Okay, good. I was like, I think she is, but I just want to make sure. And I'm not asking the wrong question. I hate
No.
to do that for sure. And then what about Rain? Rain the Brain.
Yeah, Rain the Brain taps a little bit more into whimsy and creativity. And they're based on the main character, Rain, who is a 12-year-old inventor who uses everyday odds and ends and objects around the house to create inventions that save the world from otherworldly beings, so
Mm-hmm.
aliens and whatnot. Um, and it's adventurous, and what I've been told from kids is that they read it so quickly that they're waiting for the next book, which was kind of how I ended up in romance. I was trying to write books 3 and 4 in that series, and the book that got funneled through me was a romance novel, and I pivoted into romance and haven't been back to children's books yet. But
Well,
maybe
we
maybe
hope
it's
you
time.
get back. Yeah, for sure. And that leads me into this question. So the Rain to Brain series seems
Hmm.
like maybe upper middle, elementary, or maybe middle school.
Yeah,
So
it's for middle grade readers, definitely.
awesome, because yeah, it's a little thicker.
Hmm.
I think fewer illustrations for sure, right? And
Yes.
so, yeah, I love that. I love the fact also that is Rain gender neutral?
He could be. I
Okay.
think in the book, I think he has pronouns.
Okay,
I
I
think.
thought
I
so,
think
but I
he's.
wasn't quite sure. But when I
Yeah.
look at it, I'm like, because I'm thinking about my grandsons, and they
Yeah.
are very creative and imaginative, and so I certainly would. They're 10 and 9, so I
Mm-hmm.
certainly they're on my bookshelf. I need to pull them out because we were just talking about like what books they want to read next, and so I think those will be my suggestions for sure,
Awesome.
and then they can swap, right? So we talked about, and then the Ella stories, Lower Elementary.
Yeah, so right now, we say anybody can read
Okay.
them. Of course, the younger ones can read them with the help of an adult, a trusted adult.
Mhm.
Um, but they're for 3 to 8 is
Okay.
the age range.
Yeah.
That's the
Awesome.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
But
I
also
always
fifth
like
graders tend to love them for whatever reason. I'm not sure why.
okay. That's good to
Yeah.
know. So that means you have a higher interest level. That's
Hmm.
and I tell people, parents especially, even high schoolers like to be read to.
Hmm.
And they still like storybooks, whether
Absolutely.
we believe it or not. And so it's a great way to engage them or to create a family book club or what have you. Just find something they're interested in and do it, you
Yeah.
know, for sure. Well, let's go to the next question. What impact do you hope your books have on young readers?
I hope they encourage them to continue reading, to find something that they love to do, they love to read about, and to just dig in and to keep digging.
Yeah.
Because the more we read, the more we're aware of, and that can change and shift how we navigate through the world. So,
Absolutely. I believe, as Frederick Douglass says, that once you learn to read, you are forever free. That is
mhm.
my mantra. I stick by it. That's what sets the standard in my world.
Yeah.
And so I tell parents, I did my job, as I educate parents to support their children in is being growing readers, is not to actually spark the love of
Hmm.
literature. They do that through exploration of books like yours and other authors in different genres of text and things like that. But
Yeah.
once they have the tool and they can read, then the world opens up to them and they can develop that love of literature. They will become voracious readers. In my story, I don't know if I've ever shared with you or not, but I wasn't a voracious reader at all.
Hmm.
I did not read for pleasure. I knew how,
Yeah.
as a kid. It wasn't until I got to college and a friend introduced, and I used to say, I just start changing this. I used to say, my friend introduced me to some smut. But what I realized is that what I was reading actually wasn't smut. It was a story that had not been told before.
Yeah.
The reason why I classify it as quote unquote smut is Elin Harris. And
Hmm.
became just, I gobbled everything that he wrote, but he was telling a story of Black men in a way that had not been told before, in a part of our community that was hidden and
Hmm.
secretive. And it was fascinating.
Yeah.
And so that's what sparked it for me. But I grew up in a house where mom had books stacked to the ceiling. She read every day and still does, and around teachers and friends who were readers. But I was like, no. So I'm so glad and thankful, even though he has transitioned, Elin Harris, that he existed in the world, because
Yeah.
he is the author that spoke to me and my spirit and opened me up. And from then on, I've read everything, and I still do. My house is, whew, if you've seen my bookcases, Lord help me. All right, let's go. Let's go. So, what themes? I think we've talked about this though, but I want you to kind
Yeah.
of come back to it. So, what themes and messages are woven into your books? Diversity, friendship, overcoming fears, STEM, history, whatever it may be.
Hmm. Rain the Brain definitely hits on some STEM. Uh, there's there's all sorts of science woven into the creations that Rain comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
I think we touched on the first two books in the Ella series. Um, Ella and One Big Dream is about the power of grit and holding on to your dreams when others don't necessarily understand them,
Yeah.
which is what happens in the book. And there's actually, you can see this one on the screen. There's
Yeah.
actually a story within the story. So I illustrated two books for this one because
Mm-hmm.
they're in the book. Ella's at story hour, and there's a story that the librarian reads at story hour called Ducks Don't Drum.
Mm.
And so I illustrated that one so you can scan the QR code, read that book, and then hop back into this book and finish it. So there's
I
two
love
books,
it.
two
Yeah.
books for one in that one.
Yes. And you know, my
Yeah.
nonprofit is Dreams KC. So I'm all about igniting dreams. I often say
Yeah.
that my work centers around supporting people so that they can do, be, and dream whatever it is they want to do, be, and dream.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love
I
it. I
love
love
it.
it. Yes, I got to make sure I get a signed copy from you on that one for sure.
Okay.
So you talked about, you really hope that your books inspire children to keep reading, that they fall in love with reading.
Hmm.
Um, these particular books, I consider them traditional storybooks, or what we call trade books, right? That they can
Yes.
be read alouds, parents can read to them. How can a teacher, and I love this whole thing around a book within the book too.
Hmm.
So, how do your books support literacy development or classroom learning? How can teachers use them to support what's going on in the classroom learning environment, or librarians for sure?
There are, and I need to go back in and reformat these so that there are specific prompts for the educators. But within each of the books, when I go to read them out loud, for example, Ella and One Tiny Thing,
Mm-hmm.
when I take this one in, there is an opportunity for the kids on this illustration spread, right? Where we're
Yeah.
talking about how a seed can grow into so many different things and how it can turn into food that we eat. And the
Yeah.
table is empty. So we pause to talk about what kind of things grow from a seed and how we can fill this table with things that are healthy for us, right? So
I
all,
love it.
all
Yeah.
sorts of ways to incorporate different methods of learning, different types of lessons within the story itself. But
Yeah, I immediately see project-based learning, because if a school has
absolutely.
a garden, if they have health and PE classes,
Hmm.
oftentimes I taught for 15 years. So and I know you are a former educator as well.
I am. I
At
am.
the collegiate level, I think that's how we met, right? I think you were
I
doing.
don't remember. It was a long time ago.
And so, did you teach at KU?
No, I actually taught at UMKC, but
Oh, I'm
before
so
that, I was
sorry.
I
I'm
was with
sorry.
Kaufman Scholars and the Kansas City Freedom School. So I've had the chance to work with kids at all ages of their education journey. So,
And I'm sorry that you were
oh,
at
it's all good.
UMKC and not KU. I'm sorry. Jackie, you should then know that I am a Jayhawker, right?
That's what. But hey,
Um,
listen, we're not going to go there. I won't tap into it.
I think oftentimes early career educators, long-term subs, people that may have gone through an alternative route to get into the classroom, are those that are just pressured by, testing and meeting standards and things like that.
Yeah,
They oftentimes don't get creative enough, or they get bogged down in ensuring that they meet these standards, that they don't realize that they can use literacy to open up the
yeah,
world for their students and create such amazing learning experiences that the students will get the standards if we just
yeah.
make learning fun. So I love that you incorporate those types of things in your books for sure. All right. So I know you write, I
I
know
do.
you illustrate,
I do.
um, but talk about what other products or services you provide as an author and or to authors as well.
At this for me would fall more under LaunchCrate, the
Yeah.
publishing company that I founded. But we offer both traditional publishing and also publishing services as well. So traditional publishing is when you would submit your manuscript and we would submit an offer, and then we'd split the profit share. For LaunchCrate authors, we're super selective on the books that we choose to publish, and we only publish a handful each year, and those are the books that we see creating ripples of good everywhere that they go. Um, those who traditionally publish with LaunchCrate are receiving a 60-40 split of the profit, where 60 is going to the creative side,
Mhm.
meaning the author and the illustrator, if there's a combo, or just the author. And then 40% is coming back to us at the publishing company. And then on the publishing services side, any support that you need as you are entering into the world of publishing, we can help you with that. And that's whether it's editing services, or if you're looking for someone to lay out your book for you so that it looks professional, we can help with that. We can consult with you through all of the minor details that you need to make sure that your book is hitting those industry standards. We can also help you to figure out which publishing path is best for you as an author as well. So
I
any
love
step
that.
along the process, we can help with it.
What made you launch? Was your authorship, your author journey first, or was the publishing journey first?
The author journey was first, and because of the author journey, where Katina, I don't know if I ever shared this with you or not. The first book that I published, The Christmas Cookie,
Hmm.
had a $5 profit margin per copy sold, using a service, an online service that was supposed to help people get their books out into the world.
Yeah.
And out of that $5 profit margin, I only received 14 cents per copy.
So people need to understand that, because I think people will often think that traditionally published authors, indie authors, they celebrate these large sales, the number of books sold. But
Mhm,
depending on the medium that they use, the contract that they have, they will end up with
mhm.
10, 15, 14 cents. Oftentimes there's the statistics that you'll only sell 250 copies of your book in your lifetime. And I'm like, that's a lie.
Right.
Right? That
You
doesn't
just
have
gotta
to
get
be
creative.
true, right? That doesn't have to be true. And
Yeah,
so, wow, 14 cents.
14 cents, and, this is a company that didn't do anything to help me create the book. I wrote the book, I illustrated the book, I did the interior layout, I did the cover design. I packaged the book together. They didn't help with anything, but they were still earning more money because they were helping me to push a file. And I was like, I can push a file. And I started looking at how many people were using their service and how
Mhm.
many different books were going through this specific service. And I knew in my gut that this did not have to be the end all for people. This didn't have to be the only option for people who were entering the path of publishing.
I love it.
So I kind of logged it, and that was between when I left Kaufman Scholars and when I started working at UMKC. So then I went to UMKC, and during the day, I was helping people get acclimated to the collegiate experience and ramp up those skills so they could be successful. And at night, I was working on building the publishing company so that I could eventually take another leap of faith
Yeah.
and do this full time.
I
And I
love it.
haven't looked back since 2017.
Congratulations. I
Thank
love it.
you.
And thank you for taking that experience and not only helping yourself, because you could have said, I'm going to have a publishing arm and I'm just going to push my books out through that. But you're helping others navigate the space, which is so important. So I really appreciate that. All right. So, did you freeze? Is it me? Is it you? Let me see. Did we lose you? Uh-oh.
There we
There
go.
we go. All right, all right. There we go. All right. So, I've been having scrolling at the bottom right now. You'll see the banner for Launch Crate. But where can people purchase your books? Do they go to your website? Do they go to Amazon, Ingram Spark, or do they come to Launch Crate? What's the best way for folks to purchase your books?
If you're looking for any of my books or any of the other books that LaunchCrate publishes, LaunchCrate is the best place to go. Launchcrate.com/books. You can see all of the authors that we've published so far. You'll also eventually, if you follow us, be able to see some of the other books that are coming out this year as well. Um, all of the books are available. My personal books are available online anywhere books are sold that I've
Awesome.
found so far. Yeah.
Good, good, good. That's awesome. That means you are doing well for sure.
Mhm.
And you said projects coming out this year. How many projects will come out under the Launch Crate banner this year?
We are pushing for 4 books this year, not written by me.
Awesome.
Not gonna talk about how many written by me. I don't wanna jinx it.
Well, yeah, so I'm not even going to ask this question in. We know there are projects coming. Stay tuned to the
Yes,
Launch Crate website, the social media channels, all the things. Where are you most active in terms of social media? Is it Instagram?
it's Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
check her out on Instagram for sure. And where do they find you on Instagram?
At CL Fails.
All right, you guys got it at CLFLC. She just leading right into these questions. That's when you know she's about her business for sure. So I think this may be the last question that I have for you, and I'm gonna let you get on the road and get to
Okay.
Kentucky, honey. If you could leave parents, teachers, and/or young readers with one message, what would it be as we continue this celebration of Black Children's Book Week?
Mm, just one? I can only just one message.
As much as you like. You can say as much as you like.
Oh, man. Um, yeah, I'm trying to narrow it down. There are so many things that are rolling through my mind right now that I want people to know about who they are. And it's that they are enough and they are their own best thing. And so often we look externally for validation, but the only validation that you need is found within you. And my hope is that you find books that help to inspire that, that help to strengthen that muscle
Yeah.
of knowing and that help you continue to grow within.
I love it. I love it. Yes, that's kind of where I'm spending my time right now. I think in terms of books,
Hmm.
doing so much self development. But what I
Hmm.
realize is that as I do the self development, then my work with nonprofits or for profit work, like it all goes together.
It
Your
does.
stuff shows up no matter where you are, for
It really
sure.
does. Yeah.
And so somebody recently gave you a new nickname, I think. So what is this new nickname before we get out of here?
The Joy Sherpa.
So tell me about the joy, like what you just said, leaving folks with. That's what reminded me of it. I don't know if I
Yeah.
would remember until you actually said what you said in terms of like you're your only competition. That's the way I
Yeah.
take it. What you see, who you see looking back at you from the mirror is what's most important.
Hmm.
That you don't have to live your life to please others like that. That messaging
Yeah.
feeds me and brings me joy. So tell me about this nickname.
The nickname was given to me by Lauren. And she said that I radiate joy and that I always seem to find the joy even when things are tough. And that is one of the things that kind of fueled me into documenting my journey through Decoding Joy, that book that's back there, there's
Mm-hmm.
more of that journey that will come out in the book that I'm working on right now, which is called I Climbed Through the Clouds and Found the Sun. Yeah.
Lord have mercy. I
I
think we need to
know.
have some type of retreat or something like,
Yeah.
and I wonder if, I said the other day, and I promise this is going to be it. I said the other day to someone, the times in which we find ourselves living right now, you
Mhm.
have a choice. You can
Mhm.
get anxious and fearful,
Yeah.
angry, or you may feel a plethora of emotions, and that's fine. Feel what you
Yep.
feel. But what history, I think, tells us is that these are the times to give birth to something.
Yeah.
And what I think I'm hearing is that you are birthing a way for those of us that are in that mindset
Yep.
to see beyond current situations and circumstances, and know that you will go through and get through. And
Yeah.
what's on the other side is going to be so fucking amazing.
Yes.
I hope YouTube
Yeah.
and Facebook don't bleep me, but sometimes that's just the way it is,
It
right?
is, but it
Yeah.
is what it is. It is what
And
it
I
is.
know that
Yeah.
you have
So
your own personal, journey happening and things of that nature. I wish you the best.
there are
Thank you for
several.
saying
They're
yes.
happening concurrently.
Yeah. If you need anything from your larger community, know that I count myself a part of the village and would love to support you in any way that I can. Thank you again for saying yes. Thank you for being with us as we
Thank you for the
celebrate Black
invite.
Children's Book Week. Good luck.
Thank you.
We gotta send up some positive vibes. So those of you
Yes.
who see this later, what time on Sunday is the marathon? So we can send up good vibes through the universe.
It starts at 7 a.m. Central
And you hope to be done by what time?
in 6 hours. So
Look, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. You will be
yes.
crossing the finish line.
Yes.
I'm putting it out there now. Have a safe trip.
Will
Enjoy.
do.
I don't know how you get through that, like mentally, like if you're thinking thoughts, talking to God. I don't know.
All the things.
Do what you do to make it an amazing amazing race. And when you get back, we will be celebrating with you.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye,
Thank you. Bye,
everyone.
y'all.